Hi, welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophia, pilot into the universe of Chinese. Let's continue exploring Chinese expressions, mostly translating Western originated scientific ideas or new technology. Okay, today we're going to talk about 人类基因组计划. As you can see, I grouped them into 3 groups because they're total 7 characters, the big translation. Normally something we just translate 3, 4, 5 at most, but today we have 7. So I'll try to speed by each individual one of them, but it's apparently a translation of something, a specific term translation. So 人类, I'm so happy to see it kind of concurs with the way English make up concept. Mankind. Okay, my English pronunciation. 人类 is exactly that. So I guess this is kind of mankind, a translation into Chinese, right? Because mankind is an English concept, which is kind of categorizing man or humans as a species, as against other animals or other life forms. So 人类 is this humans a self-classification, like a self-awareness to understand, well, we are a kind, right? Even if women have different genders, races, or ages, we are this whole group or category of mankind. So that's Chinese translation of that. And then 基因组, it's genomes. Genomes. Genomes is a code, right? Code depicting or codification of human bio, even behavioral features. So this 基因组 is a Chinese way to say it's a group. It's not a singular. It's multitudes of 基因is Chinese genes translation, and I think it did a great job to almost telling you what it is. It's our basic elements. And then this it could be like a causal, like what caused you this, right? And then 基因 together is your basic like knob turning, right? Like how you are how your parameters are set in that way, like how your knobs are tuned to adapt to the current life. So that's Chinese understanding while translating, and both the audibly translating that and conceptually translating that. 基因组计划, it means planning, but in this case, it's Human Genomes Project. It's a specific international collaboration last decades. And this particular project in Chinese, we didn't do the project thing, we translate as a planning thing. And that's the interesting thing, right? Because project involves so much more than planning, but somehow in this, Chinese just view them as a plan, like you plan to do something. The execution is not even mentioned in there. All right, so, okay, 人类, again, 2 legs enemy, and ancient Chinese rendering a little bit R, English letter R shape, that shows the left and right, the yin and yang, 2 opposing, like a bipolar nature of humans. Okay, 类 is 3 parts of 类. Here, the bottom left is our dog symbol. It's a profile side view of dogs. These are the dog ears, nozzles, the whole fluid body of the dog, the front legs of the dog. So it's a simplification of a dog. And right side is human, actually. It's ourselves. So this is a human body. You can see it's kind of looking like that, right? But the emphasis is on this big head. So we're, I guess, here talking about the big-headed person in there. The head is an abstraction of the center of the face, which is these 2 are nose bridge, like here, our nostrils, I guess, over there. And then the 2 dots are, the 2 nostrils are our face. So this is the marker of the center of the face. If you look at a face project the sphere onto the 2D form, which is a circle, right? This is the center of the circle. And then we draw a big circle around it. So that's the peripherals of the circle, or circumference of the circle. So you have the center of the circle, the circumference of the circle, and then that define the whole thing. And to define the whole head, Chinese just use these two elements to give you the structural. I guess that's almost like the definition of, in geometry, right? How to define a circle. It's you have to know the coordinates position, the center of the coordinate of the center, and then you have to know the radius, right? And then you can draw out the whole circle. But I guess in Chinese, we give you the circumference, like to tell you it's a whole sphere thing. Okay. It's sitting on top of the human body, the human symbol. So it's a big-headed human, right? So we have a dog on the left, the human on the right, and then we have the rice on the top. Okay, it's getting scattered. Okay, the rice symbol comes with this classification idea already. This quadrants, right? It's cut. I would view it as a classification already. So you have, AAA grade of rice, and then you have B, C, D, level, right? And of course, there can be finer cuts, but 4 basic cuts there. And in each quadrants, we have this one dot symbolizing a grain of rice. And that's our rice symbol, just this quadrants and with diagonal lines. And you notice it's intentionally positioning the rice grains of the rice pointing toward the center. So it looks like a spoke, right? It looks like you have the cross and then you have the cross again. And that's the charm of Chinese. And somebody orient that to make sure they are all concentric. Okay, so rice itself contains this classification of the grading of the rice. And the dog represents animal kingdom, and then humans. Humans can be subcategorized. Like we can all pigeonhole into a tiny space, right? So this classification then becomes Chinese concept of kind. Is a classification thing. Either dogs or humans, so any kind of a species or living beings, or even non-living beings, can be classified into groups of things. That's how we, understand the world. We have to group them together, similar kind together. So 人类 together, this concept, mankind is this humans self-classify themselves, regardless of all the other differentiators. We converge onto our humanness, and that's 人类. When we say 人类, it becomes almost like a scholarly research attitude or perspective. We no longer look at 人类 as we're part of it, because it's difficult to study yourself. You have to stand out of it, like a kind of a rise up from the God's view, a bird's view, to look from afar, or outsider's view. Almost like you view 人类 as a non-human, as an alien, to study mankind, and then that can make more sense. It's almost like I'm studying Chinese right now from English perspective, talking to English audience, and then I look back at where I came from, the language I was born into, and that way I can make more sense. So exactly the same thing. All right, 基因组. 基因 we talked about a few episodes ago. I probably don't want to go further deeper into that. But 基 as basic, this concept is made of this fortress or city, ancient times city. Okay, not contemporary. Wall building effort, and the bottom here is this the soil or the material that goes into building the foundation of the wall. So this foundation, this material, like you can see the stacking up, this concept of wall building for for ancient fortresses, that makes the concept of basic, because you're literally building the base of a fortress, and from that can be transferred and applied to other, like a foundation or base in order to create anything, you have to lay out the foundation fact first. So that's the understanding of Chinese as the basic. Okay, if Ji emphasize structural, like spatially, how things are built, right? You have to start from the ground, build up. Yin gives you the temporal, not the spatial. Yin is talking about the temporal sense, how you get here from the past. And this temporal sense of causation is this yin, and it's made of this. If you see the full frame, fully edged, that means a huge space. And then you have this concept of big. In my interpretation, is a big landmass. And big landmass is the wet dream of every rulers in ancient times. I mean, I guess in contemporary life as well, like every country, like Ukraine, Russia, Russia's trying to expand their land, at least in the name of that, right? Or get access to ocean or whatever. They're trying to get more land. And that is a motivation for all the nations before, ancient times as well. So this big land is the goal, the dream, the ideal, right? And then how to get there, that temporal sense of what you did before to make you end up with big piece of land mass. That's the concept of yin. That means the causation, like temporally, you do something ahead of time, and then you get this ideal situation for your country, something like that. Okay, so spatially, temporally, explainers to say why you are here as you, either the structurally build up or temporally build up toward this point, this explainer thing. Then it's a Chinese translation of genes. I mean, I think it's genius. Okay, 组 means group, and it came from this fabric symbol on the left. And you can view this as spools of bread, spools of thread connected by thread, and end up being a drapey material like that. Or you can view that as the root of the tree, because ancient times, contemporary as well, thread. Well, I couldn't say that because in contemporary we have chemistry industry or petroleum industry who can produce all kinds of artificial thread or fibers, right? Ancient times is plant-based, it's organic fiber. That's the majority. Your cottons, your linens, they're all from the earth. Versus contemporary, it's more all kinds of mix and qualities of fiber making. So I cannot say that now anymore, but ancient times, this is rooted. They're from the ground, and that's the fiber form. So all of this is related to fiber or fabric. The right side is a little bit complication. In Chinese, it's actually an abstract word, means moreover, or I haven't finished yet, let me continue, something like that. Or it acts as a pause in whatever you're saying, you qie, kind of giving a pause, and both the speaker and listener can regroup their thoughts, re-nerve themselves to then continue again. So that becomes like this pausal term. And this pausal term, almost like something planted, and this horizontal line is the ground. So something planted in the ground and have two horizontal lines strikes through it. Later scholars can pack in all kinds of imaginations of what that is exactly. Okay, but in contemporary, when it passed down to us, when we use this word, that means this, in addition to, like when you say something, then you tell people, don't go yet, I have more to say, something like that. Okay, and this continuation plus this fabric sign together. In ancient times, it means type of, I think in English it's kind of corresponding to lanyard, which is a thin strip of fabric that's used to hold on to. In today's, it's like if you're going to a convention, you're going to have a name card attached to a lanyard, hang on your, on your neck. But in ancient times, people use personal adornment, almost like a latch key, right? You're holding your key or some sort of authorization or some sort of ID, holding onto you, and people attach that to this kind of lanyard thing. It could be personal adornment as well, like you put jade beads on it, so when you walk, it has this sound creation. I don't exactly know, up to imagination. So this then means grouping, and I guess it probably is a textile item that's kind of a group several things together. That becomes group. So genes grouping, that's a Chinese definition or translation of genomes. I mean, how awesome is that? We did this translation making total sense. It's a translation as well as a definition to it. Okay, 记 and 画. 记 means count. It came from the ancient roping technology. Roping as an ancient, I guess, form of counting to number 10, actually. So this vertical line is a rope, and then horizontal line is the indicator. There's a knot in there. So when you tie a knot, it means number 10. That the whole thing, the cross thing, becomes Chinese number 10 because it's a roping. When you have that knot on there, that means 10 automatically. And then the left side means speaking. 10 speaking. It's almost like you're speaking out, you're announcing it's number 10. So you're counting numbers. So that's count. And 画 means carve. So literally it's like a carving something. So you have the 3-finger hand symbol, looks like this. This thing is a 3-finger hand symbol, and you're holding some kind of a chiseling thing, right? Or a pen thing. And then at the bottom, this kind of a frame thing with this circle with a cross inside it is the abstraction of a painting. It's a painting hung up in your living room, that kind of image, right? And this is the ground. So you have the whole space. You have the 2D frame space, your roof, your walls, your ground, your floor, and then you have something hanging in the middle of the room on your wall. So that's the image of a painting. So you have your hand, 3-finger holding, so I guess you're painting, do the painting. We even draw out of this act of painting. And then the right side is a chisel or the knife. So it's painting with a knife. So that's carve, right? How logical is that? So what do you mean planning is made of count and carve? I guess we can explain it by, for you to plan anything, you have to first quantify things, right? You want to achieve 10, how to achieve there. You have to first be able to define what is 10 for you, right? So that involves counting. And then carving is like you have to carve out your resources to allocate. So that's a whole planning thing. It's totally can be attributed to you do the quantification, and the carving is like a creation to create your action plans so that you can carry out to make sure you reach number 10, something like that. So 人类基因计划组人类 mankind. That makes sense, right? 基因组 genomes, that's genomes. Okay, that's a Chinese translation of genomes. And 计划 is planning, actually, but Chinese somehow translate this project into planning in here. That's it. I don't want to say more about it. Enough babbling from me. I hope it makes sense to you, and I see some great translation. I like both 人类 and 基因组. This translation is amazing. And I guess this shows this genome, and it's a several decade effort. As far as Wikipedia said about the Human Genome Project, it's officially ended like a fully decoded human genomes by 2022, only 2 years ago. So it's a still recent thing, but it contributes to our understanding mankind, understanding mankind, and here the spatially and the temporal explainers of ourselves. So it's great first step to self-decoding. All right, so cash into the concept thinking about what did I always see another day.